Well, China's role in the multilateral trading system has grown as China's role in trading per se has grown. I think that's what has really happened. As China has become a major trading power in the world economy, and as the world economy has been reshaped very much around the impact of China to a very large extent, we've seen China's recognition and also the quality of the Chinese participation in the WTO has gone up a lot. So I think now we really are at the point where the world trading system can't get along without China. And I think that China has also been throughout this time a very important friend of the developing world. Because even though China, and along with India, Brazil and ourselves, although our role in the world trading system is growing, the fact is that we're still developing countries. We still have big challenges of industrial development and an equitable arrangement. And so we have found ourselves in a situation where we're in the same sort of groups when it comes to a lot of the issues. So we're both members of the G20 on agriculture. China has given support to the group that we are in, coordinated South Africa, called the NAMR 11 on industrial tariffs. And I think China's voice has been very significant in arguing that there must be an equitable outcome, that the biggest distortions in the world trading system are in agriculture and are by the developed countries. And that what we have seen emerging over the years is a fairly modest set of reforms that are proposed, worth having, move in the right direction, but modest. And in return for that, the ante keeps getting raised in terms of demands on so-called advanced developing countries around industrial tariffs. And so China's at the top of the list, but we know we're in the same category. It goes China, India, and then it comes a long list of countries, and South Africa is also in that list of countries. Well, the developed world has preached free trade, but doesn't practice it, and particularly doesn't practice it in agriculture. The fact of the matter is that in agriculture, developing countries are much more competitive than the developed world. So what they have in place is a series of tariffs, which some of them are enormously high. They can be hundreds of percent. They can even go up to 1,000%, I believe, in the case of some developed countries and in rice. And then you have also subsidies, enormous subsidies. The fact of the matter is that the total value of subsidies is more than the gross national product of Africa. So this is the situation. Many people in Africa live on far less than $2 a day, and yet cows in Europe receive subsidies to the extent of more than $2 a day. You've got all of these things, and I think it's been recognized that there's a big distortion and that it has an impact on developing countries. Take the poor cotton farmers of the Sahel, countries like Chad, countries like Burkina Faso and those countries. They desperately need to survive on the cotton production by very, very poor farmers, and yet for the sake of a few hundred farmers in the developed world, what's happening is massive subsidies are being put in place which jeopardize the livelihoods of those farmers in the developing world. Well, I think the thing is that we just concluded, I think, a very successful bilateral state visit 2 weeks ago. We were here with President Zuma on that. And I think there were a number of issues that we were discussing around that. But, I think the reason why China is such an attractive proposition for foreign investors is because China is growing the way it is. And that tells us a huge amount about investment. So I think it's much more about showing investors that there's a real growth proposition than it is about investment laws or investment treaties and things like that. And I think that's one of the lessons from China. And then China has been, we have a an investment relationship with China in which we have South African companies investing in China, but we also have China, along with India, has now emerged as among our top 10 foreign investors in South Africa. That was not the case remotely 10 years ago. So I think that's been a big structural change. And China has also become our largest trading partner. And in fact, our exports to China grew in 2009 despite the global recession, whereas they contracted in a lot of other parts of the world. So it's a very important trading partner. We agreed in the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement that we needed to work to change the composition of that trade, and that particularly we need to, and China agreed, to encourage more value-added imports from South Africa into China. What we're looking to try to achieve certain qualitative shifts, not just quantitative expansions. And as I mentioned one already in our trade, we've agreed on we need to have a more structurally balanced trade in which there's more exports by South Africa of value-added products into China. I think that's also an ambition for the African continent. And also China agreed that they would invest more in projects that add value and beneficiate mineral products. So we're looking to push both of those further forward. Value added, that's what brings development, that's what brings jobs.